him out of the car, push his body, slap at his head, or anything that would have suggested a struggle to you?
Not that I remember, but I do remember David again pushing Ginny away.
Slow down with me, back up.
You're asking about a struggle. Struggle involves...
involving Ginny laying hands on David that would visually convey a lack of consent. See what I'm getting at?
I see what you're getting at.
I'm getting there, I promise you.
Okay. Today, right?
Hopefully.
Okay. No, I don't remember seeing her shove David trying to get him out of the car.
Okay, all you saw was the hand on the ignition.
Yes.
Okay. Did you make any visual observation at this point as to whether or not they were engaging in any more yelling and or shouting?
I don't recall whether or not they were yelling or shouting.
Okay. Is that something you would have noted in your report?
If I remembered it, more than likely.
Okay. And the absence of that in your report would suggest to you that there was not any more verbal altercation between the two?
It would suggest to me that as I was running, I might not have heard what was going on.
Okay. Did you physically see what looked to be contentious expressions on their faces, like they were going at it?
Yes, they both appeared to be quite upset.
Okay.
In fact, Mr. Karr had a scowl on his face. Would you like me to demonstrate that for the camera?
I think you better not. Relax. David. Okay. Now, when you claim that there was a third occasion where Ginny was shoved by David?
Yes.
Okay. Was this a violent shove?
Yes, it was.
Were all three of the shoves violent?
They were all three violent.
Okay.
This one was violent enough to shove her into the passenger side of the car farther.
Where was she seated already?
She has been moving her way back over. She was more in the center part of the seat when she was reaching for his hand.
And again, this was probably open-handed?
Yes.
With his right hand?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever hear the car start?
Not to my recollection.
Okay. Did you believe that David had, quote, taken control of the vehicle?
Yes.
What led you to that conclusion?
He was in the driver's side of the seat and he had possession of the keys.
Okay.
Which were in the ignition, and appeared to me as though he was trying to start the vehicle because the vehicle was turned off.
Could have been going to the accessory position too.
Could have been.
Okay.
And the next paragraph, I did notice that the vehicle was not running at the time.
Okay, and that would be consistent with the accessory position?
That would be consistent with someone trying to start the ignition also.
Okay. Yes to my question?
Yes.
Could be consistent with the... Okay.
Among other things.
All right. Did you notice anything unusual about David's left hand at this point?
I don't remember seeing anything in his left hand other than possibly the steering wheel.
Okay. Where were you when you made the observation of the third shove, if you would, and then chronologically forward?
I was about 10 feet away from the car, so I was 10 feet away from the front of the vehicle.
Okay, you were still coming towards the car?
Yes, I had begun to slow down so I didn't run into the vehicle.
All right. When you were running, did you immediately come around the front of the car to the driver's side?
Yes.
And are you aware of where Lieutenant Parkin was during the whole course of your running?
She was somewhere behind me.
And are you aware if she made any of the same observations that you did?
I'm not aware. You'd have to ask her that.
Okay. Did she ever indicate in conversation to you during the course of this investigation that she made similar observations to you?
Not that I remember.
Okay.
Did she complete a supplement?
Yeah. No? No, I don't think she did.
Okay. I can't speak for her. what she saw then.
Okay. Now, once you came around to the driver's side, what, if anything, did you do at that point?
I took hold of David's arm and removed him from the vehicle while I advised him that he was under arrest.
Interject, do me a favor, regarding two.
Initial?
Yeah, initial dated with a serial number. And it's noted as you have written on the diagram, not the scale. Okay, this will be 2. Now describe, if you would, in some detail, the process by which you took Mr. Karr into custody from the time where you grabbed a hold of his left arm.
To the best of my recollection, I took hold of Mr. Karr's left arm and told him that he was under arrest and began pulling him out of the car. He began to struggle, and I pulled him more forcefully out of the car. He refused to put his hands behind the back, at which time I took him down to the ground. And
I don't mean to interrupt you.
You asked for a description.
Okay, I'm going to go just a little more slow.
Okay.
Okay. That way I don't have to ask 30 questions, only 20.
Okay.
You pulled on his left arm?
Yes.
Okay. Did he appear to be bracing himself with his right hand?
I don't know.
Okay.
I wasn't looking at whether he was bracing himself or not.
Okay. Did you feel physical resistance?
Yes.
Was Park in there at that point?
She was, I don't know exactly how close she was to the vehicle. I'm sure she was coming, but I don't know where exactly she was at.
Okay. Did you note anywhere in your report that David initially struggled when you pulled on his left arm? First full paragraph, page 4.
No.
Okay.
I don't believe I charged him with resisting arrest, though, did I? No.
Okay. But you said that he struggled to some degree.
Well, struggle. He wasn't fighting. If he was fighting me, yes, he wasn't coming out of the car and submitting to the arrest.
Okay. And according to your report, the keys were still in his right hand?
Yes.
Okay. Did you happen to make any observation of where the notebook was at that point?
No, I don't remember where the notebook was at.
Okay. Do you know if it was on the ground?
No, I don't remember.
You recall tripping over it?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. Now, in your report, you say David was uncooperative and began to struggle. Can you, just on that limited phrase, just kind of give us an idea of what you were hearing and seeing at that point?
I told David he was under arrest, and I told him to put his hands behind his back, and he said, why am I under arrest? And I told him he was under arrest for disorderly conduct, domestic violence, I believe, assault, domestic violence. I don't remember exactly. It was one of the domestic violence violations. I told him that he was under arrest. I kept on telling him to put his hands behind his back, and he refused to do it, and he began to try and pull his hand away and walk away from me and turn his body so that his back was away from me, not facing me, so that I could handcuff him.
Were you able to get his hands behind his back while he was standing up?
No.
Did you have to take him to the ground?
Yes. When someone begins resisting us, we take them to the ground.
Did you take him to the ground, or did you do so with the assistance of Lieutenant Parkin?
I don't remember if she had hold of him or not.
Okay.
She did begin assisting me as he was on the ground.
On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being no force, 10 being a lot of force, how forcefully did you take Mr. Karr to the ground?
About a 1.5.
Okay. So you is that consistent with your easing 1.5? That's pretty precise, officer.
It is.
Not 1.50?
No.
Okay.
Well, it's the same thing, so it doesn't really matter.
Is that consistent with easing Mr. Karr to the ground as you wrote in your report?
Yes.
Okay. Was he pretty compliant once he was on the ground about getting his arms behind his back?
No, we had to pull his hands behind his back and handcuff him.
Okay.
But another thing is when we have somebody on the ground like that, I've got his hand and the other officer had his other hand and was pointing over there, so I can't tell you specifically whether or not he completely relaxed for her.
Okay. Do you recall if Mr. Karr sustained any injury as a result of going to the ground?
Not that I recall.
Okay.